we're in a right lead here. We're moving on the balls of the feet. My lead foot is always right. Pumping here so I can move with speed into the proper angle to a power. In your lead position here, turn the heel and come back up, drop the heel forward, and go. Some range here, left 45 to the hand, right 45 into the forward triangle, attacking the big on the double. Back hand, reverse it. Right 45 and left 45, completing the 9. New jab and then long range into the eyes from here. Hit the hand and then into the eyes. Once you execute this larger footwork here, tapping the eyes, you have two options. Executing the full wall pump and eye. Now I'm going to reverse off of the reverse triangle. Maneuver to the flank here. Point for the hand. Or striking the weapon, then it comes back in. Broken footwork is the first and most important tactic and technique within the footwork system. Why? Because it connects all of the subsequent methods within the footwork system. Here you're going to start at shoulder width apart, with your feet shoulder width apart, and just bring out the right leg. Here you raise your heel, you're on the ball of the small toe. 80% on the base, 20% on the extended leg. Your foot is at a 45-degree angle. This is broken footwork with a right lead. Single first is when you pump one leg. The thigh comes parallel, the foot comes all the way back, and you're pumping the single leg in a right lead. Switch to the left. This is single broken footwork on the left. Switch back to the right, single broken on the right, switch, and single broken on the left. Double is when you switch lead positions. Right lead, right and left, right and left. You can begin by putting your hands on your hips so that you don't bounce. Right lead and switch to the left, switch to the right. Check your feet, make sure that the foot is on 45 degrees, the heel is raised, ball of the small toe, 80-20. The lead leg is very light. Switch to the left. Here, again, you can pump the leg here and switch. Single is when you're pumping the single leg, the lead leg. Double is when you're switching the leads left to right, right to left. The combination is a combination of single and double. Right lead, pump the leg and switch. Pump the leg, switch. Pump it and switch. Pump it and switch. Again, the sticks are here so you show that the feet are right at shoulder width apart. When you come out into the broken footwork position, if I turn the ball of my foot here and turn sideways, I'm under the width of my shoulders here. When you come to this broken footwork position, don't bring your foot too far out or you have to counterbalance with your upper body. Too close, you lose the balance as well. So right from the natural position here, right out onto a right lead. Switch to the left, switch to the right. This is the preparatory movement for advancing, bridging, entering, and courting your opponent. Now, what is this? This is simply your bladed footwork position or your lead positions. We're in a right lead here. We're moving on the balls of the feet. My lead foot is always light, pumping here so I can move with speed into the proper angle to a power base and back out to rapid fluid footwork. We equally train the left and the right. So you don't develop a favorite fighting position. You move with the right and switch to the left lead. Here, using your broken rhythm, which is the key to this footwork. There are no stances in the Piquete Tertia system, only footwork. So here, the practical application of the broken footwork is you're in your lead position. Right lead, you're pumping that lead leg because we're going to explode primarily off the lead leg. Why? Because of the proper distance. Most all other martial arts have their footwork based going off of the rear leg, where they're torquing and turning the rear leg. Piquete Tertia in the Filipino martial arts goes off of the lead leg. Therefore, we have greater distance in our bridging. So this is the left and right lead, or the broken footwork tactics and techniques. Next is the fluid footwork, or the sidestep. 90-degree sidestep and 180-degree sidestep. Two purposes. One is a counter-offense technique against linear attacks. In other words, you're getting offline. Two, once you bridge and end up in close quarter, it's used to execute the fatal thrust and the final attack in close quarters. For the 90-degree sidestep, again, traditionally we'll come out into the broken footwork position. From here, you're going to push off on the base leg if you're moving to the right. Turn in this manner here, push off, turn your hips and shoulders 90 degrees, always looking to the front, always looking to your opponent. From here, you're going to pump the leg in the single broken footwork manner and technique here and step back into the center position. Switch the feet, now push off the base or off of your right leg, sidestepping to the left again, turn your hips, and sidestep 90 degrees. My hips and shoulders are now 90 degrees to my opponent, looking forward at all times. Execute the single broken footwork and back to the center, and execute the switching from the broken as well. This is the traditional manner and method of executing the 90-degree sidestep. In reality, you could be right here in your base position and just explode off and sidestep 90 degrees to the right. From here, push off and explode 90 degrees to the left, because we won't always have the time to come into this type of footwork position. So you can push off from the lead here in the broken footwork, traditional method, or straight from your center and just push off, turn your hips and shoulders 90 degrees, and there you are outside the line of attack. The sticks here on the deck on the floor to represent your shoulders. When you execute the 90-degree sidestep, you must push off and clear your shoulders, so obviously you're not hit with that direct attack. Next is the 180-degree sidestep. Once you've executed a 90-degree sidestep, pump the foot and turn 180 degrees. Pump the foot and turn 180 degrees. This is utilized in close quarters, maneuvering, and also grappling and counter-grappling. So from here, you've already sidestepped into the 90-degree position here, your hips and shoulders. Pump the foot and turn 180 degrees back into the base position on your left. Pump the right foot and turn 180 degrees. Pump the foot, turn, pump the foot, and turn. 180 degree side step. Later, tactically from here, you'll step and turn 180 degrees with the side step itself. Third is the takeoff. This is how we attack and bridge from long range to close quarter. From the broken footwork position here, right lead, you're going to turn and drop the heel right in place so that it's facing 45 degrees to the left. From the loaded position here, broken footwork, you're going to turn and execute a left 45. Come up to, sorry, James. Third is the takeoff. This is how we attack and bridge from long range to close quarters. From the broken footwork position, right lead, turn and drop the heel in place. The foot should be facing 45 degrees to the left. From the broken footwork position here, drop the heel and explode about a pace and a half to the left 45. You're coming up now into the left broken footwork position. Do the same, drop the heel in place here, and execute a right 45. Two angles on the takeoff, left 45 and right 45. Back up to the broken footwork position here, take off, come up to the broken footwork position on the left, turn, drop the heel, and take off. Back once again. From here, tactically, you're going to be in your lead position here, turn the heel and come back up, drop the heel forward, and go to the right 45. From the left side, this would be if you were in a left lead. From here, and dropping the heel and moving on the right 45. You can also go reverse with the takeoff. From the position here, broken footwork in the right lead. Now all you need to do is drop the heel in place here and execute the reverse 45. Switch to the left lead, drop the heel in place, go back on the right 45 and back up to the broken footwork position. Next is the forward triangle, or the attack into the opponent's center line. You've got the 90-degree base and two 45-degree angles, again, coming in from the flanks into your opponent's center line. Two techniques, the open and the closed. To execute the open, stand on the left side of the triangle, and now you're going to enter into the apex, putting one foot at a time. Here to the apex and switching back out. What you want to do is you want to glide and simply drag the lead leg back out. Pump the leg in and glide back out. This is the open triangle or forward triangle footwork. Step in, switch, and step out. Step in, switch, only 1 foot at a time at the apex, quickly switching out and back out to the corner of the base. Open footwork. Two ways of executing this. First, you can glide the feet, and then we're going to pump the legs, as in the broken footwork. So first here, you're on the base, step in here, glide the leg back out, drag the leg back out, pump it, switch, drag it back out, and or you pump the leg by raising it in and raise the leg here. Raise the leg and pump with the knees here into the forward triangle. This is going to aid in getting momentum and dynamic movement with the forward triangle. From the open, we close it. In other words, we execute what we call the broken line or the base of the triangle. Starting on the left side again, first gliding, switch, glide the feet across, dragging the ball of the foot so that you maintain contact with the floor for balance. Step in, across, and here. Closing the triangle, closing the forward triangle. Reverse the direction across the 90-degree base, step in, switch, across the 90-degree base here. You can also do this with pumping of the foot. Starting on the base here, pump high, switch and high. Gaining your momentum and maneuvering around the forward triangle here. Here, here. Again, The reverse triangle. The reverse triangle is an attack triangle to the opponent's flanks. Left 45 and right 45. From the center position, move out, drag the feet and switch. Again, only 1 foot at the apex during the switch. Out and switch back to the opposite angle. Here I'm gliding the feet here, switching and gliding the feet up to the flanks of the reverse triangle. This is again the open reverse triangle. Now we can use the pumping of the leg, which adds the knee strike. From the center position, knee strike and knee strike. Switch on the reverse triangle, thrusting forward with the knees, thrusting forward with the knee strike. Switch and switch. Now we close it, stepping across the base. From here, center position, take off, left 45, across and glide the feet back and forth, switching the directions across the broken line. Back and forth, across the base, clockwise and counterclockwise. Then we can add the pumping of the leg again for momentum. Take off, raise the foot, pump the legs high as you move across the base and into the reverse triangle. Switching directions, back and forth, bringing the leg up, the foot on line with the inside of the knee. Across the base of the triangle, switch out and back. The reverse triangle attacking to the flanks of your opponent. Wave in and wave out. Wave in and wave out is the angling and the maneuvering of the upper body of the torso to, one, extend the reach of your attack and also to protect your torso from strikes and attacks. We're going to use the reverse triangle angles. Now we're going to put our feet in the center position here because we're going to be utilizing our left and right 45. We want to place our center foot in the apex position because you want to get the full stretch of the wave in and the wave out. From the center position, step left 45, wave in all the way, and then wave out. Wave in and wave out. Wave in and wave out here. Feet flat, so you get the full stretch all the way in and all the way back. Your torso should extend back on reverse 45 degrees. Switch to the right, feet flat, wave in and wave out. Wave out, wave back in. Here, you also want to use momentum. If I wave in, I use the momentum to wave out. Wave back in, wave out. I wave out and back in. Using, again, the momentum from the wave in and the wave out. Then we go a little bit more dynamic and we start to switch left and right 45s. I wave in, I switch, and I wave in. Wave out, I switch to the other angle, wave out, and switch. Wave out, switch, wave out, and wave back in to the right. Again, going dynamic. From the center position, step left 45, wave in all the way, and then wave out. Wave in and wave out. Wave in and wave out here. Feet flat, so you get the full stretch all the way in and all the way back. Your torso should extend back on reverse 45 degrees. Switch to the right, feet flat, wave in and wave out. Wave out, wave back in. Here, you also want to use momentum. If I wave in, I use the momentum to wave out. Wave back in, wave out. I wave out and back in. Using, again, the momentum from the wave in and the wave out. Ducking is both an offensive and counteroffensive footwork tactic and technique. Offensively, we use the ducking, which we'll show you later on, in the execution of the forward triangle and the striking technique of the break-in and the break-out. You move to the base of the triangle or the forward triangle from a high strike into a low strike in the ducking position and explode forward into the forward triangle, into the center line with the powerful break-in. Counteroffensively, it's used to protect your head. From your center position, we're going to drill this here. From the center position, feet under your shoulders. You drop to 25, 50, and then all the way. Again, utilizing momentum to go to duck and then explode back up into range and into an attack. So from here, sometimes you only have to duck about 25% in order to clear the strike. Sometimes 50, sometimes all the way to thighs parallel. When you're executing this dynamically, do not go below thighs parallel because it's bad for your knees. Again, use momentum and spring forward and up as fast as you drop to avoid the strike and attack. So as we execute this dynamically in motion, 25, 50, all the way. 25, 50, all the way. 25 ducking the head, 50 ducking, and all the way thighs parallel. And again, using momentum to spring back up, and spring back up. This is ducking. Traditionally, the way we do this is again off of the reverse triangle, adding the ranging of the left and the right 45. We'll range in, turn, duck, bring our hands up here, facing the inside of the triangle, step back out, switch, and duck. Step back out, switch, duck, step back out, switch, and duck. Ducking and maneuvering left and right 45 degrees. Traditionally, the way we do this is again off of the reverse triangle, adding the ranging of the left and the right 45. We'll range in, turn, duck, bring our hands up here, facing the inside of the triangle, step back out, switch, and duck. Step back out, switch, duck, step back out, switch, and duck. Ducking and maneuvering left and right 45 degrees. Number 8, or ranging. This is the last of the basic tactics and techniques of the footwork system. This is where we introduce your principal angles or first angles of movement when you start to bridge and attack into your opponent. It also shows the counteroffense angle or the reverse 45. We're going to use again the forward 45 as our guide. We're going to be here in the center position because what you need to do here is from the center position, step left 45, base foot flat so that you're locking in this precise angle. Back to the center, right 45, feet flat again and locking in a true left and right 45. Next, the 90 degrees, left and right. From the base position, left 90 degree ranging. Again, with the torso, angle the body on the 45 degree line, evading strikes to the head. Back to the center line, right 90 degrees. Here, angling your body as well. And back to the center. Left and right, reverse 45. Here, you want to bring your lead leg off of the center line because you don't want to get a habit of leaving that leg in the center line where it could be hit and or trapped by an oncoming and attacking opponent. From here, you begin the dynamic execution of the drill, isolating the particular angles in the beginning. Left and right 45. Left 45, right 45. Also utilizing the wave in and the wave out. Left and right 45. Switching to the 90. Left 90, switch, right 90. Switch, left 90, switch, right 90. Utilizing also the wave in and wave out, the momentum of body angling and switching the line of attack. Then we go to the reverse 45 or the counteroffense angle, evading an oncoming attack. Reverse 45 left, reverse 45 right. Utilizing the wave in and wave out, protecting your head and torso from attacks. Utilizing momentum, waving out, coming back in, and switching again. Back and forth into the apex, making sure on the reverse 45s that you drag and pull that lead leg back into the center position. Again, left and right 45 attacks going forward, left and right 90 degree attacks on the base of the forward triangle, and left and right reverse 45 degree counter-offense attack, evading the attacks from an opponent. From here, you begin the dynamic execution of the drill, isolating the particular angles in the beginning. Left and right 45. Left 45, right 45. Also utilizing the wave in and the wave out. Left and right 45. Switching to the 90. Left 90, switch, right 90. Switch, left 90, switch, right 90. Utilizing also the wave in and wave out, the momentum of body angling and switching the line of attack. Then we go to the reverse 45 or the counteroffense angle, evading an oncoming attack. Reverse 45 left, reverse 45 right. Utilizing the wave in and wave out, protecting your head and torso from attacks, utilizing momentum, waving out, coming back in, and switching again. Back and forth into the apex, making sure on the reverse 45s that you drag and pull that lead leg back into the center position. The advanced footwork tactics and techniques, numbers 9 through 12, start to show the tactical execution of footwork with striking. Number 9 is the L or the reverse L, a center line attack, 0 degrees in straight ahead into the center line of your opponent here, and then a maneuver on left 90 degrees. All right, we'll bring Dennis in and we'll show the execution of the reverse L. From long range, from your circling here, I come in straight on the center line. There's possibly, if the hand's exposed, striking that and then out on the left 90. Again, if you're here at range and your opponent gives that target the hand, you can step in and back out on the 90-degree left. Move over here so we can show the other angle here. Again, if the hand is there, the target, step in straight line and then out on the left 90 degrees. Again, if you miss that forehand attack on the 1, stepping in, out on the 90, back out the range so you can pick up the 2 backhand, right to the hand strike, outside the range of the opponent's backhand attack. From long range, from your circling here, I come in straight on the center line. There's possibly, if the hand's exposed, striking that and then out on the left 90. Again, if you're here at range and your opponent gives that target the hand, you can step in and back out on the 90-degree left. Move over here so we can show the other angle here. Again, if the hand is there, the target, step in straight line and then out on the left 90 degrees. Advanced footwork technique number 10, the N. This is a forward and reverse triangle sharing a center 45-degree line. Tactically, you're going to execute a left 45 going into the forehand strike of your opponent, striking to your opponent's number 1 forehand attack. Going in, getting back out, and then attacking again in on the left 45-degree line. Again, you're here in your bladed position at range, left 45 into the attack, into the hand of your opponent, back out on the 2, and then back in on the left 45-degree line to the number 3. All right, let's bring Stephen in and we'll show you the execution on the N. From range here, I'm going to execute left 45, striking the hand. Stephen comes in and counters with the 2, and then I'm back in on the left 45, striking the hand at long range. Left 45, reverse left 45, and again forward left 45, executing the N. Back to range here, 1, back in on clue 2, and 3. A little faster here, one side bridge, 1, Stephen comes back in, and I reverse it, picking up the 3. Again, one more time here. In, out, back in, picking up the hand on the left 45, the third angle of the N. Let's show it from this angle here. Here, at range, bridge, back out, and pick up the hand. Back again here. We're at range, left 45, back out, and picking up the hand, left 45 on the number 3 attack. From range here, I'm going to execute left 45, striking the hand. Stephen comes in and counters with the 2, and then I'm back in on the left 45, striking the hand at long range. Left 45, reverse left 45, and again forward left 45, executing the N. Back to range here, 1, back in on clue 2, and 3. A little faster here, one side bridge, 1, Stephen push back in, and I reverse it, picking up the 3. Now we're at the M. 2 forward triangles side by side, adding another 45-degree line to the end. Again, this is the introduction of proper tactical maneuvering and footwork with the triangle system. Beginning here at the base, I'm going to execute left 45 with the number 1, ranging out against a counterattack on the number 2, reversing it back in on left 45 with the 3, and again back out on the number 4, utilizing our 5 attack system. A little bit more dynamic here, 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, let's bring Dennis in and we'll set this up as a drill showing the tactical execution of the M. From range here, on the 1 to the hand, back out counter pitch and attacking the hand on the number 4. So right from here, I'm shooting for the left hand. Back in as Dennis counter attacks on the number 2. I reverse it for a number 3 attack, either to the weapon or the weapon hand here. I range out and get the number 4 strike right across the hand. Let's move it over so we can show it from this angle here. Again, from range, left 45, right, forward, and reverse. Again, one more time. Tactically, to the hand. Back out, executing the 4-wall counter offense high. Now I'm going to reverse off of the reverse triangle, maneuvering to the flank here, going for the hand or striking the weapon. Dennis comes back in. I pick up the hand on the reverse 45 on the number 4 strike. From range here, on the 1 to the hand, back out counter pitch and attacking the hand on the number 4. So right from here, I'm shooting for the left hand. Back in as Dennis counter attacks on the number 2. I reverse it for a number 3 attack, either to the weapon or the weapon hand here. I range out and get the number 4 strike right across the hand. Let's move it over so we can show it from this angle here. Again, from range, left 45, right, forward, and reverse. Number 12 is the diamond. Combination of the reverse triangle and the forward triangle. Left 45 and right 45. This is your initial bridge on the attack. Long range into close quarter. From the diamond position here, here, and there on the left 45 for your forehand attacks. Here you would be in your bladed position here, 1 and 2, stepping in reverse triangle and forward triangle. From your bladed position here, going to the outside of the hand with the fluid strike and coming in with the follow-up number 2 on a fluid 5 attack example. From here, going into the right 45 on a forehand attack, that would be executed with a broken strike. On the fluid strikes again, right 45 and left 45 on the backhand, incorporating the full ranges of the diamond. From range on your forehand attack here, left 45, right 45. Left 45, striking to the weapon hand and into the forward triangle across the bridge of the eyes. Switch this to the backhand side, we're going to use the right 45 and the left 45. On the number 2 to the hand, and then coming into the center line on the number 3. What the diamond shows you also is that on the fluid attacks, forehand and backhand, the rule is forehand attacks, left 45 into the forward triangle on the right 45. Backhand attacks, right 45 into the forward triangle on the left 45. If you're going to execute the broken attacks, you reverse that. From the number 1, from the forehand position here, I go to range and strike the weapon hand of my opponent. You never step in to the inside line on the right 45 with the fluid attack. If you do, and your opponent does a broken attack, you're open immediately. You're on the inside arc and the inside extension of the number 1 attack. Principally, your bridges and your attacks on forehands are to the left, to the hand and into the forward triangle on the right 45. Backhand again, right 45, left 45, into the diamond attack. Let's show the diamond attack from the opposite angle here. Again, from range, utilizing the fluid forehand attacks, left 45, right 45, on the left side of the diamond. From range here, left 45 to the hand, right 45 into the forward triangle, attacking the bridge on the number 2. Backhand, we reverse it. Right 45 and left 45, completing the diamond. From the right, going to the hand, coming forward into the forward triangle on the center line. Once you understand the mechanics of the footwork system, the techniques 1 through 12, now you need the training method. First thing you should do is isolate the basic 8 without weaponry. You can go without weapons, or you can go to the sword carry here in the left hand. Go through the broken footwork here, switching your single, your combination with the broken footwork. Go to the side step here on the 90 degrees here. Back to the broken and side step 90 degrees. Pump the leg and go to the 180 degree side step. Practice the takeoff here. Proper takeoff with the dropping of the heel. Go to your forward triangle here, with or without the broken line, open or closed here, using the individual mechanics of each footwork, tactic, and technique. Once you finish the basic 8, then you go to the 9 through 12 with the weapon. So you've got the L or the reverse L. Then you've got the N. From here, now you can begin executing the takeoff into your 1, the switch, and forward on the left 45. 1, 2, and 3 with your diagonal attacks. Go ahead and finish out the fluid 5 attacks, 1, 2, and 3, 4 diagonal slashes with the M. From your loaded position here, your bladed position, your 1, your 2, your 3, and your 4 here with your fluid 5 attacks. Then the diamond here. Again, from your bladed position, 1 and 2 on the left side of the diamond. Backhand position here, 2 and 3 on the right side of the diamond. So, master the basic 8 without weaponry, without any type of weaponry, or you can go to the sword chamber. Then go through 9 through 12 with basic attacks. Circling footwork is your tactic and technique at long range, defined by the circle of arrows on our symbol. The circle of arrows move clockwise to the outside of your opponent's weapon. You do not want to circle long range inside the range, extension, and power of your opponent's forehand attack. The basic technique is a center line step and a reverse 45. With striking, forehand attack moving forward, and a reverse 45 for the backhand attack. Again, stepping forward and reverse 45. If you execute 2 repetitions of this, you'll see that I've already executed a 90-degree maneuvering and flanking my opponent. So Stephen will stay put there first, and I'll execute 1, 2, 3, and 4. As you can see, I've maneuvered a full 90 degrees to the outside of my opponent. Now, we'll put this together where we're both executing the circular footwork with the 5 attacks. You'll see we start to circle around to the left and maintain long range or tip-to-tip distance. This will be adjusted by our forward step and the reverse 45. Then from there, once you've mastered your basic diagonal attacks, then you start to break it up using other strikes and broken rhythm, broken attacks. utilizing the circling footwork at long range. Now we're going to show you the specific striking and footwork combination from the Dos Metodos. Tercio corto, horizontal attacks, or the break-in and breakout, executed with the forward triangle. So from range, I'm executing a 3 and a 4 and a counter fence with the horizontal attack. From this position here, I move Steven out on a 3 and 4. He returns with a counter fence on a 1. I get out on the horizontal strike to the base of the forward triangle, 90 degrees to my opponent. I go to the knee shot and then in on the forward 45 to the center line of my opponent. Back again, come in again, 3, 4, boom, boom. If I can, I will execute the break-in or the direct strike at close quarters. Tactically, when I come in and bridge, 3, 4, and Steven comes in, that's the shot to the hand. Against the diagonal, I take the horizontal at range, outside the range of the diagonal attack, taking the hand. If I take the hand there, now I can safely go to the low line knee shot. If I miss the hand, I have to come back with the return horizontal against the backhand attack. Long range footwork or the largo jab. This is where you're going to target the eyes specifically with the knife jab. The mechanics are here from the normal bladed position. I don't have the full range to get into my opponent's eyes with the jab. If I execute the largo footwork with my counterbalance, it can give me that extended reach that I need to hit the target. So from here, if I just stay bladed, I'm not able to hit the opponent's eyes or bridge of the eyes. If I use the largo footwork, I can. From your lead position, your bladed position, you're going to use the left leg as the counterbalance and get the full extension of the knife jab. Here again, I step here and I'm able to bridge and execute the jab to the bridge of the eyes. Now we execute the drill. First, we're going to combine a jab to the weapon hand, low line, and then utilizing the largo footwork to the bridge of the eyes. So from here, I'm going to bridge, moving and bridging and stepping off of the base foot, my left foot here, as I jab to the weapon wielding hand. The feet come together and then step into the long range or largo footwork. Again, pushing off the rear leg for the jab to the weapon hand and then follow up with the largo footwork to the eyes. Now Dennis is going to execute his counteroffensive footwork. From here back to the drill, you jab and then long range into the eyes from here. Hit the hand and then into the eyes. Once you execute this largo footwork here, tapping the eyes, you've got two options. You can tap and wave out, utilizing the mechanics of the wave in and wave out, or you can follow through, stepping on the left 45-degree line for a follow-up slash and or running attack. So I execute that, and there's my left 45 with the number 2 slash. Once again, from here, pushing off the rear of the base leg to the hand, feet come together, and the largo footwork into the bridge of the eyes. The largo footwork is an excellent example of the complete footwork system. Why? Because we can bridge off of both feet. I can use my lead and the rear. So if we're back to the drill, if I bridge with the jab to the weapon hand, I'm going to initially bridge off of the base foot. Push off the base foot to the weapon wielding hand. However, from the lead position, if Dennis gets the beat, he gets the attack straight line on the jab, I can move left 45 and counterattack to the eyes as well. Again, back from here, Dennis gets the beat here, I move forward on the left 45, evading that center line attack, knife jab here, left 45, and I counter tap the eyes as the jab comes through. Again, one more time here, boom. Bringing the feet up now into the quartering position. So again, the largo footwork, utilizing both feet. Pushing off the base foot for the strike to the hand, and or if I'm in range already, I can go directly to the Largo footwork on the lead. There's only one way to properly train and execute strikes and attacks with edge weapons, impact weapons, and empty hands or the hand blade. These striking mechanics come from the sword. They come from the live blade. Executing a proper slash and a thrust is executed with properly defined striking mechanics. First, with the sword, obviously, a full grip, thumb closed. 2, blade edge orientation. Your secondary knuckles are on line with the cutting edge of the blade. 3, chamber position. A full proper chamber, back of the blade, on the traps, on the shoulders. Forehand and backhand. Next is the third hand. Fingers are lightly joined together. The back of the thumb rests on the plexus. Next is the elbow. The elbow is always bent through the striking execution, never locked out straight. Following with the 90-degree principle, the most important. From the chamber position here, as you slash through, you must maintain the 90-degree position orientation, the blade to the forearm. If you don't, you are breaking your wrist early and throwing the strike. This 90-degree angle must be maintained from the chamber all the way through to 90 degrees to your left and to your right. This permits you to follow through and thrust, slash, a full slash across your front and return thrust. A full slash and a return thrust. If you break your wrist early, before 90 degrees left and right, you have no thrust return and you have no strike. You've thrown the blade, and from that point of the wrist break, of that early wrist break, you have no protection from the blade and no power with striking. The next is hip and shoulder rotation. From your bladed position, when you're developing these mechanics, you go to the bladed position, heels on line, feet roughly 45 degrees to the left. You isolate the lower body while you strike and define the striking mechanics with the upper torso and the arm. When you strike on your forehand and backhand diagonal attacks, you want the full hip and shoulder rotation. Full chamber, turning your hips and shoulders as far as they can go. Following through with the slash, you should be looking over your right shoulder after the execution of a forehand attack. 1 and 2, turning and rotating your hips and shoulders with the follow through on the backhand diagonal strike. Last is the follow through. Once you break the wrist at the 90-degree angle, you want to release that energy and let it naturally extend and follow up to the opposite chamber. You do not want to do this. Break the wrist and then pick it up and put it on your shoulder. If you look at me from the side here, I break the wrist and naturally let it follow through to the proper chamber, the following chamber. From the 90-degree principle, break the wrist and let it natural follow through. If you look at the tip, if you look at the diameter of the sword from the side, it completes a complete circle, a full circle. 1 and 2, forehand and backhand. 1, 2, 1, 2. Let the wrist break and continue up naturally in a follow through to the following chamber. So you've got grip, blade edge orientation, your full chambers, your third hand, the bent elbow, the 90-degree principle. 90 degrees, weapon to forearm, until 90 degrees left and right. Full hip and shoulder rotation and the complete follow through. Proper striking mechanics with the edge weapon. Weapon striking mechanics. There's only one way to effectively strike with edge weapons, impact weapons, and empty hands or the hand blade. They all come from striking with the sword or the edged weapon. From here, first you put yourself in the bladed footwork position. Here, heels are roughly on line, feet are at 45 degrees. You're locking in your lower body so you can isolate the striking mechanics with the arm and the upper torso. First is the grip. It's obvious with the sword, a full grip with the closed thumb. Second is your secondary knuckles or the blade edge orientation. Your secondary knuckles are aligned with the long blade edge of the weapon. 3, your chamber positions. You must take a full chamber and touch the back of the weapon to your shoulders, to your trap. Forehand chamber and the backhand chamber position. Next is your third hand. The third hand, the fingers are loosely put together. The thumb is on the back of the plexus. Next, the elbow position. The elbow is always bent, never extended. So from here, you're looking at your bladed footwork position, full grip, blade edge orientation with your secondary knuckles, your chamber positions, forehand and backhand, the third hand on the plexus, and your elbow always bent. From here, the most important mechanic of the weapon striking mechanics, the 90-degree principle. When you strike from the full chamber, you must maintain a 90-degree angle with the weapon to your forearm until 90 degrees left and right. If you do not, you are throwing the strike, throwing the weapon, losing the protection of the weapon itself, and you have nothing beyond that point. You've thrown your weapon and there is absolutely no power or execution of a strike at that point. So from the chamber position, the 90-degree principle, slash through to the 90-degree position left and right. Here you can return with the thrust if you wish. Backhand, slash, and thrust. If you break your wrist early, you have no return close quarter thrust. So from the bladed position, the 90-degree principle, slash, break the wrist 90 degrees to the left, follow up to the opposite chamber, slash, 90-degree position, the weapon to the forearm, and break the wrist appropriately 90 degrees to the left and the right. From the 90-degree striking mechanic, you've got your hip and shoulder rotation and the follow through. From the bladed position, you must rotate your hips and shoulders for full generation of speed and power, turning and striking with the rotation of the shoulders. If you execute a forehand strike, you want to be looking over your right shoulder at your opponent. The backhand strike, turning your hips and shoulders almost completely to the center line, ending up roughly on a 45-degree line. Last is the follow through. Once you break the wrist, you want to let the weapon naturally continue on and follow through to the opposite chamber. If you look at me from the side, you're going to see the tip in a full circle. Strike and strike. 90-degree position, let the wrist naturally break and follow through to the opposite chamber. Strike, 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 and strike. Do not break your wrist and then pick up the weapon and place it on the opposite shoulder or the opposite chamber. Now if we move to the impact weapon or the rattan stick for training and combat, the same mechanics. You've got the grip, except now flush in the left hand, flat on the bottom, and roll it into the right for a full grip. Here you've got the puño now for close quarter attacks and close quarter trapping and control. Blade edge orientation, you're striking secondary knuckles forward. 3, the chamber position. Always a full chamber, touching your traps and shoulders and your back. If you do not have full rotation and full range of motion for an effective strike. You are also exposing your hand to be hit and attack at range. You've got the chamber position, third hand. At the plexus again, the thumb on the plexus. As you execute a forehand strike, you naturally go to the breaking position, or what we call the tapping position. If you rotate the shoulders through, the bicep of the striking weapon hand goes right into the third hand or left hand. Then the elbow. The elbow is always bent during striking, never extending in a straight manner. So you've got the grip, blade edge orientation, full chamber position, third hand on the plexus, the elbow always bent. The 90-degree principle stays the same with the impact weapon. 90 degrees with the return thrust. Slash, slash, and thrust. From here, hip and shoulder rotation, full rotation. From the forehand position, again, turning the hips and shoulders as much as you can for full generation and range of movement. 1 and 2. Then the follow through, again, from the side. Once you break the wrist, let it naturally follow through, let the weapon naturally follow through to the opposite chamber. Grip, blade edge orientation. the chamber positions, your third hand on your plexus, the elbow, the 90-degree position, 90-degree striking mechanic, hip and shoulder rotation, and the follow-through. All these come together for proper striking mechanics with the edge weapon and the impact weapon. If you have these mechanics here, 1 and 2 on your diagonal attacks with the follow-through, with all of these mechanics put together, you have the power now to strike with the empty hand or the hand blade. On the number 1, this becomes the slap. On the number 2, it becomes the hand blade or the hack. You do not need to hit the pads, hit the bag. With this weapon, you're generating enough power and speed and follow-through to effectively strike with the hand blade. Let's look at the striking mechanics again with the complete 5-attack system. 1 and 2 downward diagonal, 3 and 4 reverse diagonal into the number 5 center line thrust. I'm going to turn sideways here so you can see the mechanics now of the reverse diagonal slashes. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. As you can see on the 4, I don't break my wrist again until 90 degrees left and right. A complete grip, blade edge orientation, full chamber on the 1 and the 2. On the 3 and the 4, there are no chambers. Once you slash on the 2, you go to the 90-degree wrist break. It chambers again 90 degrees, follow through on the 3, and follow through on the 4. 3 and 4 do not have a chamber position. 3, 2, the fluid 4 to the 90-degree position, break your wrist, turn your hips and shoulders, and follow through. When you're looking forward again, this is at range. This is at the circle of arrows. Strike across the bridge and across the bridge on the reverse 45-degree lines. So again, let's review. Full grip, blade edge orientation. When you're striking on the reverse diagonals, you should be lowering and raising your hips. You lower for the 3 and come up, covering the top of your head with the full range strike. Drop back down and come back up, covering the top of the head with the number 4 strike. Grip, blade edge orientation. Your full chamber. Third hand is on the plexus. The elbow is always bent. Of course, the 90-degree principle on the 3 and the 4, keeping that 90 degrees here because this is your protection. Your weapon is your protection here. If you break your wrist early, you've lost your protection and you have no more power with the strike beyond that point. Once you've got your 90-degree position locked into your mechanics, turn your hips and shoulders and execute the natural follow-through. Dakubi Punyo, the center line thrust and horizontal attack. This is a critical drill because it brings realistic speed, timing, power, accuracy, and sensitivity, all executed on the reverse triangle. Beginning with the center line thrust, punyo, slash, reverse triangle with the lower umbrella. Dennis delivers that horizontal punyo, countered by the four wall down to the low line slash. Thrust, four wall, out. And we start to maneuver around. There. Locking this up with realistic speed, timing, power, and attacks. When I execute that center line thrust, I'm coming through my opponent. From this side, you will see when I come through, that is a real attack through the range of my opponent. You're not going to see us just stick tapping the distance in between us and then doing minimal footwork without executing that daku and executing a powerful horizontal punyo. From here, execute the tap or release that. The four wall is countered, bring down to the slash here, and then countering the center line thrust again. Let's get another understanding, another perspective of the Sagung Lobo drill, or the diagonal and the vertical punyo attacks. Now I've got to deal with someone taller than me, more powerful. That means this drill has to be even more powerful in its training and execution. There's no replacement for power, size, and power. I have to double my energy to stop the natural energy or the natural strength of someone bigger and taller than me. I have to use my leverage, footwork, and my wave in, and my ducking, and the impact of my third hand and the weapon hand in order to successfully counter a powerful strike in close quarters. This is the Sagung Lobo drill from the Pikiti system. Extreme close quarter attacks. We start off, I have to strike in and around. And then we again, starting in here. Boom. Boom. Stepping in here. As you see, I got to drive forward on my left 45. On Steven's side here also, he has to duck also and drive and strike that punyo, the forehand punyo as well. The 45 comes back around to the trapping position. From here, again, one, boom, I come in here. Right from this position here, if I'm going to keep this trapping position and go for the hand, I want to move out on my left 45-degree line, moving my head and center line away from his third hand attack. Bam! That's it. I strike to the weapon hand. That would be gone, and then I would go with my number one punyo to the carotid. Turning that with the elbow control, exposing the carotid, the side of the neck, and executing multiple attacks. Again, bang! We come back in, here, come back in. Striking and moving. If I go to the two, I do my left 45 again, angling my body out with the wave in, and striking to the temple, striking to the nape of the neck. With speed, with timing, with proper power, and execution in close quarters. Double kalis, double sword. You have to move from static drilling, symmetrical attacks such as broken fluid, broken fluid, or the upper 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, into a free flow drill where you're utilizing circling, bridging, entering, and the free flow. First, again, let's come back to, let's say, the broken 6 drill. Good starting point. You're getting timing, some aspect of range, But you're going to need to break this range, go into the circling, and utilize some broken attacks, broken rhythm, and bridging. Excellent. Circling, using the principle and the execution of attacks on the contact and on the contratus. Circling and bridging on the diagonal attacks with the footwork system, diamond, half diamond, and the follow through into the close quarter. The empty hands or the hand blade system comes from the diagonal attacks as well. You've got the number 1 slap, the number 2 hack, number 3 is the elbow, upward diagonal, horizontal, or downward diagonal, and the jab from the knife. So if Randy's got his guard up here and I'm at range, I'm trying to do the double jab here and come in with my number 1 slap. Randy counters with now the Sagung Labo drill counter offense into the number 1 slap. And we're moving here, practicing our trapping and countering game here in close quarters. Again, not just standing static and just doing a little bit of patty cake here or easy slapping, cooperative type of drilling. Randy comes in with a number 1 slap, I've got to counter that. Here, back and forth, here, with energy and with the footwork in close quarters. Now we're going to add the fistics or some boxing attacks. From close quarter, when we're in the counter for counter Sagung Labo drill here, back and forth, we're moving here, back in, quartering here. Now Randy throws the overhand and I move out on the 90 degrees with my number 2 hack. Again, going from close quarter in the tapping here, boom, crossing over. Right from here, Randy comes up into the chamber position and throws that. I do a direct number 2 hack, stepping outside the line of attack from that close quarter overhand and striking with my hand blade. From there, as long as I clear that overhand here, I can follow up in close quarter with multiple attacks. This is a realistic drill. Why? Because there is no way that I'm going to be able to parry, check, stop the power of Randy's overhand right or cross. I have to totally get offline, counter strike that with a direct attack, possibly striking that here, and then following up with multiple attacks from the outside position. If I try any type of deflecting or stopping movement, I'm simply not going to be able to absorb the power of that strike. I have to use the maneuvering and flanking tactics of the footwork system in order to protect myself, and utilizing the contratus method, the contratus tactic, striking from the outside. Outside here, and following up close quarter. The diagonal attack system from tercio corto and tercio largo. Fluid attacks 1, 2, 3, and 4 are 90% of the fight. The subsequent advanced techniques, the slash thrust of the panistas, the witique of method 8, and the florete of 12 métodos number 9, all come from the diagonal attacks. You must go dynamic. You cannot stay in a static format and do this unrealistic type of training. The number 1 comes here, you step in, simply deflect this stick, and then execute some follow-up attack. In reality, from range, if you want to strike that with a broken attack, you step in and beat that attack to the center line. Or you bridge with the fluid attack to the outside, executing the half diamond. Here, again, when you come in on this type of training method, hitting the weapon here is not going to stop or have any effect on the power of that strike. It's going to go through. If you just strike weapon to weapon here, come through again, it's going to go through. You have to hit the hand, or you have to bridge through that strike into close quarter. If you're at the circle, execute the broken and right 45 at long range here, beating that hand to the center line. Still, I'm outside the range of the attack of the number 1, or the left 45 half diamond. Taking the hand, following up to the forward triangle on the number 2. From here, we execute the dynamic fluid 5 attacks drill. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and the 5 o'clock. From here, we go to the dynamic drill. Your fluid diagonal attacks, 1, 2, 3, and 4, with tercio corto striking, close quarter, contact of the weapons, and tercio largo, long range strikes to the hand. At range, and as we're bridging, we're coming as close to the hand as possible as we're entering in, dynamically. Why? Because this is the live blade training method. We will move to the aluminum training blade and then to the live blade, bridging in as close as we can to that hand without hitting it, because we know that that is the proper speed and the proper timing for executing a realistic attack. We'll demonstrate, again, the fluidity, the bridging, the long range to close quarter, in and out tactics of the diagonal attacks. There. Moving in and out, bridging from long range to close quarter, into the 1 to 2, back out to the 3, back into the 4. All right, let's look at the tactics of contact when the weapons are forehand to forehand, backhand to backhand. Let's get an understanding of why we even make contact with weapons. In reality, you don't want to do this. You want to strike directly to the weapon hand as you're bridging into close quarter. In reality, I would strike the hand thrust and be gone, taking the nape of the neck with the number 2, executing my running attack. That would be a perfect example of Piquita tertia with the blade. Now let's give you an understanding why we're even going to hit weapon to weapon or make weapon to weapon contact. I'll be showing my attack. Stephen will be executing the counter attack. My execution will be offensive to the hand and then close quarter to the bridge of the eyes on the number 2. I'm executing the half diamond. Stephen's going to execute ranging, long range on the reverse 45, and then he's going to have to put up a full wall counter fence attack on the number 2 to protect his bridge all the way through. So as I bridge again here, I'm taking a hand full all the way through. You see that Stephen is waving his body back because I've already penetrated through his space, through his position, as we've talked about on the objectives of the footwork system and the forward triangle. I've taken the hand now, I've got the target, which is the bridge, coming through. Stephen waves out. He puts up his protective strike, which is the four wall here, okay? Very simple. I'm ahead and Stephen is behind timing in his strike. He could execute, if he has a little bit better timing and a little bit more timing on his footwork as well, he could execute the long range tercio largo strike to my hand as I come in, 1 and 2. Now he waves all the way out. I'm going for the hand, and then Stephen gains the timing and tries to take my hand on the number 2. So you make contact when you are bridging into the close quarter targets, the bridge of the eyes and the knees on the 3 and the 4. If we make contact again on the 2, from this point of contact, I could follow through, complete my number 2 strike, or follow up with an advanced attack in the advanced 12 metodos. But here I'm trying to drive through and bridge and strike through the target of my opponent, the position of my opponent. You do not just do this, strike it here and then just simply strike sticks at range without any realistic appreciation of distance and targeting.